Yassas, and welcome to the 15th annual Los Angeles Greek Film Festival panel series. My name is Laurel Yanalos, and I am the events coordinator for LAGFF. Greece has recently become a film production destination, and we are here today with filmmaker Dennis Iliadis and the Boo Productions crew to discuss the what, the how, and the why. But before we get started, I would like to remind you that this is a live webinar, and you are able to ask questions, which will be answered at the second half of this hour. Simply type in your questions in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. For those of you watching on Instagram or Facebook Live, if you'd like to join the live discussion here and be a part of this panel and chat, please head to the live events tab at lagff.org under Film Production in Greece event to find the register link. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce Dennis Iliadis, film director, whom Greeks may know for Hardcore, while Americans for his commercial success, The House on the Left. He has worked in Greece and in America, and right now he is in the development stages of a new TV series. Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you, Laurel. Hello, everyone. We have some very exciting Greek producers with us here. We have Angelos Venetis, who is a founding member of Boo Productions. Let me say, first of all, that Boo Production is the company that has produced a lot of films, Greek and co-productions. You all know Dogtooth, the first major film of Yorgos Lanthimos. They've also done Attenberg from Athens, Athenara Hiltzagari, and lately they did Apples, which was Greece's entry for the Oscars, and a film that has been an international sensation and has won a lot of international awards. So Angelo is a founding member of Boo. Nikos Birilis is another producer who specializes in co-productions. And Teta Apostolaki is a line producer who really deals with the nuts and bolts of production. Unfortunately, another founding member, Iraklis Mavroidis, could not be with us due to a family emergency. But we have enough of manpower and ammunition here to really have an exciting talk. So I'm going to start. My first question would be, all of a sudden, Greece has become a very hot production destination. We have some quite big international, American and international films shooting this summer. How have the filming conditions changed in Greece? What changed all of a sudden that is attracting so many productions to Elada, to Greece?
Shall I start?
Yeah, Angela, it's you.
Okay, obviously it's the biggest thing is the incentives from ECOME and the cash rebate that exists that gives close to 40% of all expenses as a cash rebate, which obviously is very, very attractive, and many people for the region, I think it's the biggest of the region so far. But in general, what has changed is that the state has finally seen film production as an industry and as an opportunity for many, many different things other than just, promoting touristic attractions. So they have managed to realize how important it is to bring foreign projects coming in, and all this infrastructure that is coming in for every production leaves something very, very important for the rest of the people. But all that being said, obviously it's not always very whenever things change rapidly, they don't have the time to adjust all the proper things needed on the grounds, let's say. So what I'm trying to say is that it's overwhelming what has been happening, obviously, and it's very, very good that all crews and all producers, are trying to tackle this whole thing and make sure, everything goes smoothly. But in general, it has changed significantly. Production in Greece has changed significantly, not only because of the incentives, but because people have been realizing far more how important, and how good Greek crews are. The light is really, really amazing here in Greece, as we all know, and the weather is permitting it to shoot a lot of different, in different seasons, different scenes. But in general, at least for now, that would be my main point. Would be that Greece is being discovered as a very, very interesting area for production, for shooting feature films.
Mm-hmm. I guess one sub question would be what was like the biggest block before? A part of the rebate, like what do you think was a major like production block happening in Greece? Would you say it would be the availability of our major like archaeological sites, or just getting permits, or like
Before all that, you would come to Greece to shoot if you needed a Greek background. So if you needed a Greek beach, or if you needed Santorini, you cannot find it anywhere else in the world. So you would come because you had to come to Greece, or because you needed the ancient ruins, or you needed Crete. So it's a very unique backdrop, obviously, and most of the times, back in like 20 years ago, that was the only reason people would come to shoot in Greece. This is not happening anymore. I mean, now they have many different reasons to do. We have great talent in crews. We have, as I said, and many other things why people would consider shooting here instead of anywhere else in the world.
yeah, and our crews are definitely amazing. I can vouch for that. So a question for Nikos Anteta. Foreign producers usually look for three things when they pick a country as a film location: incentives, studio space, infrastructure, crew, post-production facilities, etc. Can you like address each of them in the context of filming in Greece?
Hello, everybody. Hello from me, Nikos, and I would like to speak a few words about incentives, just to begin with, and then with that I will discuss the rest. And I wanted to add to what Angelo said before. First, that with the incentives that was like initiated a couple of years ago, the whole policy of Greece changed, and it was like it became friendly in all different aspects of film shooting in Greece. Beforehand, we had like this. Just give you an example, they started with 25% for cash rebate incentive return, and then it's coming up because it's attracting many producers to 40%. And then the rest of the policy of the Greek government and the Greek funding members are following that pattern as well. Now we have also a new legislation from the Greek Film Center, which is also more helpful to foreign producers when they decide to come and film in Greece. And all this process, it's also becoming like more friendly to people that are handling the permits, or handling the hosting and everything to film crews and foreign productions. So what began as like a first change in regard to incentives, now it's becoming like a more friendly environment in general for somebody to come and shoot to Greece, which is like, that's to me, that's like the biggest gain that we have as producers when we wish to do something in Greek location. And in regard to incentives, as I told before, there is like this cash rebate, which is like the first and the main funding help to foreign producers. That's now like it's coming up to 40% of the Greek spending. Of course, there are some rules that somebody has to take in his mind before coming and shoot, but it's like very easy to get this. It's very not easy. It's like very straightforward. The process how to get this money back when you want to.
It's 40% of the Greek spending.
Yes, but then of course you have to have some rules about the, some certain points that you have to be careful, like the Greek element in the production and the Greek element in the film crew in general. There is a point system that it has to some producers have to abide to. But all in all, it's like very friendly to producers, and it's something that every producer can walk around and can find a solution. So you can to be like eligible to get this this cash rebate help. Also, there's another rebate. There's like the tax incentives, which is like a return of tax, but that's also mostly addressed to bigger productions, bigger budget, and it's not very easy to be eligible to get it back, because they have like a bigger minimum spending and stuff like that. And according to the last legislation from Greek Film Center, you can have like an additional 100,000 euros, even if you have like the cash rebate board. If that was like it's a new help. They usually gave up to 40,000 euros as a Greek help for Greek producers, for co-productions, but now this is coming up to 100,000 euros, and all they ask is just a percentage of the film as a co-producers. So
Is
you
there
can
a,
get like 40%.
yes, sir, is there a fixed requirement on like how many people the Greek crew needs to be and like the Greek talent?
Yes.
Is,
There is a point system, but that's something that somebody can find in the cash rebate website. And but in general, it's like it's very easy to work around it, because either you have like a Greek element in the on location. You have like, if you present Greek locations, get extra points. If you present like a Greek theme, you can also, like a Greek story, Greek related story, it's also something that can get extra points. If you have like a Greek crew or a few head of departments from Greece, also you can get some extra points in order to get to this minimum point sum that they are demanding.
so there's a very straightforward point system. Okay, Teta, what about studio space? You know, usually a lot of international production will be looking for sound stages, like, you know, a lot of bigger movies have a lot of builds. How's the situation regarding that?
I know that there have been talks and investments for a large studio in Thessaloniki. I'm not sure what's going on with that right now, in the procedure of that. But I know that there's been talks, and I know that in the past has been a great lack from our side and has caused problems, because we have all these amazing locations and we lacked of that studio. I think that people have been trying to make it now.
And there has been soundstage like Karagiannis, where like the Antetokounmpo movies shooting now. They have 3 sets. The Greek Freak movie has 3 sets there.
Yes, and there have been also some small backlot infrastructures developing shortly, also around Athens, as well as some sound stages as well.
But the plan for a bigger soundstage is in Thessaloniki, right? Which would be created by the studios from Bulgaria, isn't it?
Yes.
Exactly, and that would be amazing, right?
Yeah.
But for the time being, ready to, they have not announced when it's going to be like operated.
What about, well, we talked about how amazing the crews are. I mean, I don't know how many productions the Greek crews can sustain. And I guess my next question is, how many international films will be shooting this summer? Do you have a sense in Greece? Series or films?
You have a number. I've been hearing stuff, but do you have a number, Angela?
5 or 6, I think, not now.
I just hearing about
It's a
production.
very big number, and it's the situation is that they are all shooting almost simultaneously. You know, because obviously everyone wants to shoot like before August and after September and October. So everything is being shot around those dates. So I would say it's 6 or 7 very big projects shooting. And just for what you already said, we do have a shortage, let's say, of how many great, let's say, gaffers you can find in Greece. Obviously, we are not LA or any other very big yet. We're not any other big shooting area, so we're still developing on that aspect. So for what I would say is be cautious, plan ahead, make sure you have the best crews. We do have great crews, but we don't have, a huge pool of great crews, obviously, yet. People are coming out every year. We have more, but this is something that obviously is an issue.
Is there a plan to create, like a film school for below the line? We've seen a lot of developing, production hubs doing that. Have you heard anything like to create more crews and a bigger inflow? Is there anything like that?
Many different things have been heard. There is one very great idea coming in, where there would be a huge studio with a theme park and film school, which I don't know if it's ever going to happen. But in general, with our association of PACT, we are considering of doing some seminars and some, for having more people getting involved in our industry. But it's not something that has been announced officially yet.
So studio, theme park, and film school next year?
Yes, late afternoon.
Okay, so I have a question for Angelo now. You have been involved in your own productions, but also productions that come to you from abroad. Can you talk about these 2 experiences and how different they've been?
Okay, the main difference would be obviously projects that we are handling of our own are very, very small productions, because they're usually are focused in at least so far in the local market and in the local way of doing things. All that being said, we are now working with Denny, as Denny already knows, on an international approach. For the first time, we have a project which is very, very open and requires a lot of funding from abroad as well. But the main difference, I would say, is mainly this: all the foreign productions coming in, they require, let's say, they are bigger productions in whatever that means. So they want, you know, a production base camp somewhere, you know, with big trailers mainly. There are some even stars, even if they're not very well known. You know, they have huge, very big, you know, pampering and treatment all the time. Whereas when we do our own projects, we are more, you know, in between friends. You know, moving around, smaller crews and more guerrilla style, let's say, approaches.
And no trailers in Greek productions, that's for sure.
No.
But you can
Okay.
rent a space for very few months, so it's like you can have like a space where it's very cheap actually right now. So it's
Usually we rent a coffee shop next to the location where we can, you know, gather everybody there.
And do you feel that, you know, this change with those new measures and this new situation is protecting the smaller Greek films, or it's more, you know, it's more rooted towards the bigger films?
That is a huge pan-European discussion. It's not a Greek thing. There are two schools. One says obviously that this thing, you know, is funding all the bigger projects, so people would be more interested in investing in bigger projects. So the independent, small independent movies will be hard to make. But on the other hand, this whole thing with all the new platforms and all the new ways of screening opens up a huge space in theaters for movies to be placed, and you know, that generates obviously income for small movies, and gives them, you know, where in the past you could beg for a week to have your film, you know, screened in like 5 theaters in Athens. That would be, you know, a miracle. Now you possibly, I don't know, I'm hoping you can have it for a couple of weeks in 20 theaters in Athens, because there are not many, you know, blockbusters being screened there. That's one of the ideas. But in general, it's a big shuffle. What's happening with films, series, TV series, content in general, and how this is going to end in a pan-European base. Nobody really knows, you know, what's going to be happening soon. But for sure, everything is changing.
But you have a feeling that there'll be more theatrical space for smaller films?
Yes, it gives me the idea that since most people would be, you know, through platform screening and taking up, you know, I think that the whole essence of going to the movies will become more of an artistic situation, where a more artistic film should be there to view. Otherwise, you can watch it at home.
Okay. Okay, my next question is for Angela and Nikos. Television production still lags behind in Greece compared to other European countries. You're developing 2 series at the moment. What challenges are you facing?
okay. So the main thing is that Greece is like very new to the whole TV production business, and first of all, we have like the language gap, which is a huge problem, because if you have like even a bilingual project, Greek is not it's not a very easy language to promote abroad into foreign countries. And then of course, which might be like even a bigger issue and something we have to work around, is that they don't know Greece as a TV producer. Then it's not easy for them to accept them as lead producers in an expensive and a budgeted series, and I would say that's the main 2 issues that we have to work around, and we have to make the foreign producers trust us and give them like good projects and projects that are like commercial for them also to make them believe in it and invest their time and money.
Yeah, and I guess it's really about making the first Greek series that can really hit an international audience. There hasn't yet been too many series that could do that. But I have a feeling that Greek platforms and TV channels are more rooted now to creating something more interesting, or not? What do you feel? I mean, right now the most successful the most successful program in Greece is Survivor by far, whatever that means.
Survivor or Masters? I'm not sure.
No, I think Survivor's ahead of MasterChef, but we've seen an effort towards more, dramatic narrative sort of mini-series. So I guess things are moving in a way, aren't they?
Yes, let me just step in here. And obviously, TV will always have this reality thing going on. What we're discussing, we do call it TV series, but it's obviously it's more cinematic and it's based on a platform. It's not serial, like a 25 episodes per season thing. So, of course, it happens. And what we have seen already happening in Europe is that almost every European country has jumped in, having a global success out of a small series coming in from Spain, from Germany, from Israel. Everyone is doing it. So obviously we're pushing for that as well, and I think we're going to make it.
Okay, I mean, I have to ask now. You've been involved in some big reality program shooting in Greece. You've done the Kardashians in Mykonos and Lindsay Lohan in Mykonos again. How was that experience? I mean, anything? What have you learned from that?
It is. It's interesting. It's a totally different universe. Obviously, it has nothing to do with filmmaking or whatever commercials we also shoot. It's a bunch of crazy people having a lot of fun, and it's true. We've done also The Amazing Race, which was. That was maybe the best experience in production.
All around Greece, or like what location was that?
Shot in Patra, Arachova, Zapio, Kalimarmaro, and Acropolis on the same day. So it was very, very scary, very demanding, very hard work. Everything happened, for hours before, and then half a day of shooting, and then everybody was gone. Like the next morning, literally everybody was gone. So it was a scary thing. It's a very good thing to keep you, keep you alert and to practice and to make always the impossible, because obviously whatever they ask is last minute, and they need something very crazy to be done, and you're just trying. And in that aspect, it's very, very interesting, and I really enjoy doing shows like this. We did also with Teta, we did Below Deck in Corfu. Again, the same crazy remarks and crazy beach parties all of a sudden right now with lobsters or whatever. So yeah, that's part of production, and we enjoy doing that. That's as far as I can say.
So you can get lobsters quickly if need be. You can have quick access to lobsters. That's always good.
Keep that in mind, and if you need anything.
My next question is for the three of you. What is the best and the worst scenarios of how film production evolves in Greece? What are your aspirations? I mean, what is your best version of how things seem to be evolving? Nico, you want to go first?
Teta should start.
Okay. Well, first of all, I don't like to think of worst scenarios. So what I feel and what I try to keep in mind is that right now is our moment. It's the moment that, we have to show everyone that we can do it. We can welcome and facilitate big and demanding film shootings. We have already gained their trust, I feel, and we have to get a fair and good place in the international film industry. Now is the moment. Now, because large film productions keep asking and keep wanting to come to Greece. Mm-hmm. So clearly now is the time. That's what I feel and like to think.
Great. Nico?
Well, to me, I think it's like all this new situation that has been created now in Greece. It will help bring more money to Greek art house cinema. And we'll also give the chance for the Greek cinema to have like a bigger visibility, and also the Greek projects as well, not only the art house cinemas, also the projects that are initiated from Greece to have like easier access abroad and platforms and everything. And about biggest fear, yeah, I don't know. I think everything is going to work out fine because the situation was already really harsh before, and I think that things are looking brighter now from now on.
Okay, we're being optimistic. That's great. Angelo?
Now, I think it's what I said also before. I think that whatever infrastructure, let's call it that can be, permanent after, because of all this development, it would be great. I mean, the working laws, which have been, all the bureaucracy in Greece has been horrible for many, many years. They have been trying and tackling all these things based on, the location permits and things like this, and with the archaeological board and everything. So that would be my best case scenario, would be that all this will lead, in general, Greece into a more modern approach of how things can be done more efficiently and easier when you're dealing with the state. And my worst fear is if we somehow bite more than we can chew, and somebody gets hurt. That's my only concern.
Yeah. Teta, in terms of, it used to be quite hard to get to shoot at the Parthenon and to have access to the archaeological sites that we're most famous for. Has there been a drastic change there? Is there like a new system now where people can get the permits quickly and all that?
Well, I don't think I'm not sure if it's drastic. I think we're working on it. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it should be that open anyway. I think that the law should be less strict and more flexible. I think they're working on it right now as we speak, right, Angelo and Nikos? Because it's not an easy situation. And it has been a problem in the past, of course.
You can be laissez-faire, do whatever you want, but on the other hand, the legislation is changing, right? And there's also the film office. I mean, things it's much easier for someone who wants to shoot at a special site to get to that. Because I have heard some horror stories about before, and this leads me to my next question. Before, things were very bureaucratic and difficult in Greece. Do you have funny/horror stories to share where, in a shoot, things would get really crazy and difficult in ways that you could never expect?
I usually come up with I bring up the same story. It has to do with some archaeological sites in Crete. The one, let's say, was a bit significant, but the other two were a small area with no wire around it. It was an open space, and we were hoping to get permit for either one of them. So we applied for all three of them, just hoping we would get one of them. And we were shooting a feature film, a normal film in all sense. But anyway, the thing is that the response came 3 months after we wrapped the film, denying all access to all three areas because they couldn't find the connection between our movie and the actual site, which we didn't even know what the site was. We just needed some ruins in the background. So in what they were describing, you could only do a documentary about the specific site in order to get permit to shoot around it. So it was very, very funny. And then, everybody.
When did that happen?
Years ago. It was like 2011. And the funny thing is, it all came like months after we wrapped the whole movie. And anyway, it was funny.
Teta, do you have a story?
No funny stories, just difficult stories. No, I can't come with a funny story.
Okay, Nico?
I'm not sure if it's exactly funny, but just to give you like an image of how easy to shoot in Greece all year round. We were like shooting a film like on a boat in January time. It was January. It was like cold, but it was like not really snow and everything. And eventually the actors that they had to shoot in their underwater swimming suits, ended up swimming like with a bathing suit, and it was like a summer day actually, and it was January. It was like it was really funny because it became something different on the shooting in the end. So it's like very easy to cheat, let's say, summertime, even in winter when you shoot in Greece.
Okay, I mean that's about getting creative, I guess. So we have a question. We have questions coming in now, and I will start addressing those. The first question is from Rachel, which is, how can I connect to producers or production companies that would be interested in my film project? So, you know, she wants to reach out to someone in Greece for her project. What's the best way to go about that?
Yeah, quickly, I would say quickly, you know, the Greek Film Center has a list of, let's say, all of the Greek production companies, where you can have a look and see which production company you think, you know, is closer to what you are planning on doing and your project. And the other thing is, you know, going from one guy to another guy. I mean, you know, if you have one connection in Greece, then they would know how they can, you know, help you connect with the right producer for your project. I think that, I don't know, Nikos or Teta, you want to say something?
Not really. It's just that's the same thing I would say.
If someone wants to quickly access a list of the production companies in Greece, it's done through the film office.
Yes, there's like a Hellenic Film Commission that they have like this website with like an index of all producers and their work.
Okay. So the second question is from Anna. How could a US Greek co-production work to shoot a mini-series in Crete and Thessaloniki? Well, I guess the question there is more how you can coordinate shooting in those specific areas. Crete and Thessaloniki.
It's actually all production companies, not all, but the big production companies are based in Athens. There are some in Crete that we know of, and they're quite, you know, big and can support big projects. So usually what you could do is, you know, connect with somebody in Athens, and they can, you know, coordinate both projects, you know, either south or north, depending. But if I understand correctly, the question.
But there, like someone who wants to do like not a big shoot in Crete or at Thessaloniki, would there be production companies there that could help him, or her, or would it be, you know, through an Athenian company always?
It should be through an Athenian company to be safe, but at least for Crete, we do know that there are some, I don't know if they have equipment or if they have, you know, a big, maybe Teta knows or Nikos, but in general, what usually people do is they and also to handle all the ECOME and all the other paperwork, they usually tend to approach a production company in Athens, and then they move on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I guess it's a matter of budget, how much money they want to spend, and how many demands do they have for the shooting.
And the size of the project, yeah, the kind of project.
Okay. Third question is from Mary. On average, how much does one day of shooting, 10 hours, usually cost in Greece? What about on the island versus the mainland? First of all, the shoot in Greece is 10 hours, right? How exactly? Like what is the maximum hours you can do without overtime?
10 hours.
10 hours, okay. And what would you say the cost of that would be, and how much more expensive would it get if you were to shoot in the islands? We're talking, you know, ballpark. We don't need to get very specific here.
Teta, you want to go ahead and crunch some numbers?
Can I mean, I don't have enough information.
Yeah, to be honest, it's not
very project dependent, right? But I guess they're asking on a very basic level. Like,
I can't give any numbers if that's what you're asking.
No, it's also, for me, it would be also difficult, you know, to come up with a number. Greece, what I could say is that we are not the cheapest in labor in Europe, but we are not, I mean, obviously we're not expensive, but in general, we are in the average scale based on the European wages for tech, and usually if you shoot on the islands, you do have per diems, and all crew would be very strict with that. obviously production and other crew members, not the technicians, can be dealt in a way based on, maybe working on a flat fee or maybe on their weekly rates. They can include it in somehow and, be able to work around this. But with all the technicians and laborers, there is per diems, which is something like 35, 40 euros per day.
Yeah, and obviously some islands are more difficult than others, right? We have some big islands which have like airports and stuff, and some islands are quite hard to get to. So
And also the accommodation, like the difference might be huge between like when you shoot and where do you shoot. It's like it's not the same shoot in winter in Crete, let's say, where you can find like an empty hotel and you can have it like really cheap, or shooting during summertime in Mykonos.
But one very, very big secret I can share with everybody here is that all these small communities are far more helpful when they hear about a project coming in. I mean, if you go on an island to shoot, everybody's going to be embracing you, unless you go in August. So yeah, then you are a problem. But if you go any other time during the year, everything is far easier. Permits and everything.
Islands, right?
Excuse me.
Even in the big islands, like even Mykonos and Paros and Corfu in the winter are.
Yes. They tend to be very, very helpful. Corfu, we shot with Theta. They were all over the place. The mayor was helping us anything we needed. I've shot in Crete many times, Mykonos as well. Naxos is amazing. Now we're doing some stuff in Skiathos. Again, everybody really, really loves, and they also understand the idea of how it's going to help them, boost their tourism and everything. So, they really get it now, and they're very, very helpful.
Okay, next question is from Rupert. I'm seeking advice for filming in Greece/Ithaca. How can I connect with a Greek production company and line producers, etc.? I mean, I guess that's the same.
Call me.
So call Angelo or Nico or Theta. Otherwise, through the Film Commission, you can find a list of production companies and their work and see which would be a better match for you. You might be able to find something in the bigger areas like Crete or Thessaloniki that are not in Athens. But if you want to go do something quite intensive and which needs to get Comé and the cash rebate involved, it's usually a better idea to go with one of the bigger companies in Athens. Okay, let me ask you something else now. What about, I believe there are some very talented visual effects artists in Greece. To what kind of scale can they deal with? And do you feel that an international production could come here and VFX could start being, I mean, VFX has become a stateless thing where it happens, everything happens online, but still, do you think we have post-production houses that could provide foreign productions with everything they need?
If it's all around the basic stuff, which is great color correction and some VFX, but no, in the normal standards, 100% yes. Everybody's doing it, and we do have also many different options. Over that, we do also have some post-production houses which are already working for many companies abroad, mainly for Dubai and for other areas. So there are some very big and important guys doing great CGI and big 3Ds and things like that. And generally also sound. We do have great sound engineers, and they are most of them are very also open in doing co-productions.
What about mixing stages? Has this improved? Are there more stages now that could do a bigger film?
Following, you mean? What stages do you mean?
No, a mixing stage, where you do your final mix, because there weren't many.
Now there are, and obviously because everything is digital and it's easier than what it was before, we do have far more options of people. We even have a Foley studio we didn't have for many years. There is a studio, working out sounds and engineering. So yeah, post-production could also be very interesting. And for editing, it's far better editing on a Greek island, I guess, instead of anywhere else in the world. So think about it.
Okay, now I have a new question in from Patty. What locations would be suitable for filming Greek dancing in villages/cities? performance and non-performance. Okay, who's the Greek dance specialist here? I guess in Epirus, right? Epirus and the Peloponnese.
Tenta is to answer this difficult question.
Someone wants to do something involving Greek dancing. I guess the epicenter that would be the villages of Epirus and the Peloponnese.
Since I am, before that I can go on, since I'm a very bad dancer, I can really say that the best villages are up in Epirus for sure. And there are some amazing places you can shoot there. But Teta, please.
I'm a terrible dancer, so well, I'm not sure, but Epirus could fit for for any of that. Yeah, of course, I'll say Epirus.
Yeah, and Epirus has amazing scenery. I mean,
Yeah, for anything really, for anything. So yeah, for that too, I guess.
And
maybe some panegyria in summertime.
Some?
In August, there are big panegyria, which has a big
Islands.
And then, it really gets crazy. I mean, I think the best panegyria are in Ikaria, which are like huge folklore rave parties. And that's something you definitely need to experience. Highly recommended. Another question, are there any special considerations when filming in the Peloponnese? Actually, the Peloponnese is quite accessible, right? I mean, you can drive there. It's quite close. It's closer to Athens. We've done a lot of commercial shoots there, so I would say it's actually one of the easier places to.
Exactly, and they've done many films here.
It is surrounded by the sea also, so you have like many different landscapes,
many different
beaches and stuff like that.
It's like a mini South Africa.
I'm here right now. I'm at the Peloponnese for a shooting, actually.
Where exactly?
As we speak. Huh? I don't know if I can say anything more, but we're at the Peloponnese.
Are you seeing trees? Are you seeing beaches? Like what's happening around you? Goats? Seagulls?
Beaches mostly, beaches.
Okay, and hotel.
But we're close to trees too.
I know where you are. Okay, so next question from Alec. If I live in the US and have audio mixer and related skills with reality TV shows and movies as well as other similar projects, how can I find possible work in Greece? Do I need to speak Greek? So someone's very talented from abroad, from the US. What's his best way to reach out to people in Greece and find a job here?
As a what?
As a sound man. As a sound.
Oh, okay. I think for sound you need to be able to understand the language, so you also know if it was misspelled or if some letter was missing. Other than that, here in Greece everybody speaks English, and nobody has an.
Someone could find work more as a sound designer rather than a sound mixer, right? Than a sound recordist.
I would say there are a list of big sound studios in Greece that you could contact them and drop a CV of yours and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, so I guess as a sound recordist, you definitely need to understand Greek, but as a sound designer, especially in commercials, if you're very skilled, it's very possible. So I would suggest you reach out to sound studios that are doing commercials too. Okay, next one. Are Greek production companies hearing pitches about Greek-related content from American creatives? Is there a pitch season in Greece? So if an American producer or writer or whatever has a pitch that's Greek-related, is there a pitch season or some sort of platform where they could present their ideas?
Actually, it's the same thing. You have to find like a Greek producer that can support this project and then submit it to the Greek Film Center, so you get like the state funding and everything from then on. It's not like there's no some specific pitching sessions for
festivals going around.
Yeah, I mean you're right. There's definitely a pitching forum in Thessaloniki, right? In the Thessaloniki Film Festival. There is the
but still this goes to producers.
Exactly.
Even the pitching forum with Thessaloniki, the Agora Market, everything, it has to be like pitched through producers. But let's say that this is like a very good opportunity to meet and to meet like one-to-one with Greek producers while if you're attending like a Thessaloniki Film Festival.
Where are there such forums? There is one in the Thessaloniki Film Festival. Is there one in the Athens Film Festival too, or not? Do you know?
No, it's like mostly screenings.
The screen.
They don't have like actually it's mostly the Thessaloniki, and then we have like the different festivals, which is like the documentary festival and the International Film Festival.
Okay, can you give me an example of a post-production mix? Like, let's say you're co-production mix. Sorry, like let's say you're doing a co-production with another country, and like what sort of resources could they be bringing in? Like, for example, with apples. What was it was a co-production with Poland, am I right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So what kind of resources did they bring in, like, and how did that come about? Because obviously it's not just about money, right? It's about resources and other things too.
Of course, it's about not only about money, it's about talent also, because we have like this Polish DOP on board early on. It was one of the key elements that actually helped us to fund the project from the P5, from the Polish Film Institute as well. And then we did all the image post-production in Poland. They have like this, it's a country with a very well-known tradition in cinematography also. So we were like very lucky because we worked in a very good post-production house called DI. It's one of the biggest in Poland, maybe the biggest one. And we got like a great support in terms of coloring and everything that had to be delivered like on time, and for the foreign festivals, all the deliverables.
Okay, more questions coming in. From George Theo, how willing are the locals of smaller islands to accommodate any filming in islands like Hydra, Aegina, etc.? I guess you addressed that, saying that in the winter there's obviously much more enthusiasm. And
Yes.
you want to add to that? Like
Yes.
specifically for Hydra and Aegina, which are islands we know quite well.
Yeah, obviously, Hydra and the Spetses and I don't know about Aegina, but they are harder to tackle crowds for production, especially. They are very how can I say this? They are very used to a more cosmopolitan approach of people coming in, so they can become very expensive into renting out spaces on the port or things like that. So yeah, there are some exceptions in the islands being friendly in general. For example, I would say Hydra is not a very production friendly island. It's very hard to move around. It doesn't have
I mean, no cars are allowed in Hydra, of course. Anyone who doesn't know that, so it's just donkeys and walking. So I guess that's not very friendly. And it's also very steep, a lot of steps. Next question from Dana Wilberg. Is it difficult to cast extras in Athens?
No. It's a simple answer, no. No, what is an issue with extras is that they have become quite expensive in general due to technicality of how they can be hired, because everybody has to be hired through Social Security, and that in order for them to get like a 50 euros or 20 euros per day, this climbs up to 100 cost. So close to 100, maybe 80 euros. But that's the only issue which we are trying to work around it. We're trying to find solutions of how you can pay extras in order not for them to be so expensive. But casting them is easy.
So, let's say you're shooting in a remote island and you want to cast some villagers to be extras. Like, do you have to go through a lot of paperwork?
No, we don't have to go through. You have to go through the paperwork to hire them, because everybody who is on set has to be hired, and it's not that. Some years ago, you could just make a contract with let's say a union of filmmakers of Patmos, and they would send out like 50 people, and you would pay them normally, and they would get paid through that. But this is not done. This cannot be done anymore. So everything has to be through Social Security, which almost doubles the expense at the end of the day per extra per
But
person.
let's say you want to shoot, let's say in Icaria, and you want to cast some people there as extras. Like how long ahead do you need to get in the process to make them viable for a film shoot?
I wouldn't say it takes, it takes some time just to do the whole process. Depends how big the crowd is. If it's just, four fishermen on a boat, then it's easy, obviously. It's nothing to worry about. And usually we don't have an issue. I mean, even in Athens or on the islands, finding extras is not an issue. Casting them is not an issue. Just, how technically they can be.
It's a bit more time intensive to hire.
That is time consuming and sometimes.
Okay. Now a question that is getting very specific. To expand on Angelo's call us, how would someone go about working with Boo Productions? So if someone wants to reach out and work with you, tell us your address, your cell, everything, Like how could someone contact Boo, and like what's
Just email. We're happy to respond to emails. We do it all the time. So on our website you can find all our emails and everything.
So go on your website and email. Okay. From Nick Adamis, my script has shooting locations in the caldera of Santorini. Does this qualify as hazardous shooting? Does this qualify for a bigger cashback rebate? Two different questions, I guess. So shooting in the caldera, yeah, you need to take a lot of precautions, right? I don't know, hazardous shooting, does that mean something logistically? Because that's...
Of course, you have like extra measures, I guess. That can help us more. If it's about
there, I think that would be very difficult to get caldera. It wouldn't be easy, but I guess it's not impossible.
It would be difficult to get it because of the tourist movement there, or how busy it is, or
in the summer, yes.
in the summer, no way. In the winter,
yeah.
I'm not sure it's allowed to work.
I'm not sure
because of the danger of the.
We would need more information. Anyway.
Yeah, we have to to
We need to look into that. Okay.
Yes, regulations.
That doesn't say anything.
Okay. Not a question, just a comment that it could be helpful for general inquiries and recommendation. People in LA interested in shooting in Greece can also contact Public Diplomacy Office at the Consulate General of Greece in LA. So there is someone in LA you can reach out to, and that's the Public Diplomacy Office at the Consulate General of Greece in Los Angeles. Okay, Christina. Okay, question 12 from Lawrence. Any work for foreign actresses in Greece who do not speak really Greek? I speak English. There is, right? But it's hard to say that, you would come to Greece and there would always be work for you. But very often, Greek movies are looking for foreign-speaking actors, and there's definitely space for that. But right now, we don't really have a sense of a flow. Someone who comes here not speaking Greek, how often there would be a part for them, right?
Exactly.
Okay. How can someone start as a location manager in Greece?
I think, like in any other country,
how do you go about it?
you just you need some cash and a nice camera and just gathering information. I don't know how you know Greece or how well you can scout around it, or if you know how where to find what is needed. The biggest thing, the first thing you would do is create a big database, so you have some quick access to show things to people, producers or directors, landscapes or buildings or what have you, and then having good skills, communication skills, so you can convince the owners to let us shoot on their property, I guess.
So I guess start with interesting location pictures, and obviously, a different eye that sees things in Athens that other people can't. And I think that's the best way to go about it. Oh, that's interesting. What are you doing in order to preserve the Greek language in film? And that's an interesting question because I see that most Greek films have English titles now, like Apples, All the Pretty Horses. Like, what's going on? How
No,
can we preserve the Greek
no, there's like a
language?
Greek title for Apples, Dennis.
Huh?
Mila. There's a Greek title.
Sorry. But there are a lot. There's Digger, right? Digger was.
Digger was like in English from the beginning.
I mean, there is a tendency of a lot. I'm sorry about Apples. It's Mila in Greek. There has been a sort of a Greeklish tendency going on. What are we doing to preserve our language in film?
I guess we're trying to find the best scripts that are to be shot in Greek. That's one thing.
Yeah, and also I think our feeling is that the best chance for a Greek movie to have international success is to be interestingly Greek rather than try to imitate any sort of foreign film, right? So it's in our interest to try and be Greek, but Greek not in a self-flattering way or a super patriotic way, but giving someone the experience of what it feels like to live here, because it's a very exciting place in many ways. We're very cinematic in our lives and our dramas, I think.
Mhm.
Okay, last question. Ta-da! What are each of your socials and where can we follow you? Okay, I guess that you can get them through the LA Greek Film Festival. They can give you our information. You can find us. You can find our social media info. Okay, so I guess that's it. It's been very exciting talking to you. I think we addressed some interesting things here, and I hope people heard interesting things. And let's do it again soon. Thank you, guys. Thank you, LA Greek Film Festival. Laurel, back to you.
Thank you so much, Dennis. And thank you, Angelo, Nico, and Theta for being with us here today. We would like to thank our sponsors and to each and every one of you joining us today. On behalf of LAGFF, we would like to thank you for the support of Greeks in Entertainment. Also, please note that if we were not able to get to your questions today, there is a panel next Thursday at 11 a.m. with the Greek Film Center where they can be hopefully addressed there. Today begins our panel series for the next 2 weeks. So before we log off, make sure you are registered for our other panels and workshops that will be held this weekend. We have scheduled the following live events. The times are in Pacific Standard. We have a Taylor Q&A this Saturday at 10 a.m. There is a workshop on Saturday at noon on film set with mediator Karina Tautu. And we have a Man of God Q&A with cast and crew participating. Mickey Rourke will be there at 11 a.m. And you can find the complete schedule on lagff.org and follow us on Instagram and Facebook for the latest updates. We look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.